Hey, what's up brothers? Viper here, and today we go over a sometimes quite underestimated subject, namely BBs. Before we go into the knowledge of this subject, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and keep notified by clicking the bell icon below. This way you help us out to keep making these sort of videos to help you guys out. So that's some sort of win-win situation. Nonetheless, today is all about the ammunition for airsoft guns and how you can test their quality. Now, if there are two core things that are essential to any kind of weapon system, whether it is for war or sport, then it will be 1. The gun, and 2. The ammo. In fact, if you would take the most expensive custom-built high-tech gun in the world and shoot with bad quality ammo, you will not only seem to be aiming badly, but you will cause damage to your gun, whether it is airsoft or not. So spending a bit more money on good quality ammunition saves you more than you would think. And guess what? When it comes to ammo, it is the most underestimated product by most people that start the airsoft sport. So that's why we're dedicated to clear all of this out for you guys. Now, since there are a lot of brands, colors and ways to choose from, let's begin with the BB choice. When it comes to choosing the correct BB, it comes down to 4 main factors, namely the BB material, the color, the weight and their quality. So the first one, the BB material, has to do with legislation and also with being mindful for the environment where we play in. For this, some countries require you to use only biodegradable BBs in the outdoor, which might even be narrowed down to a few brands by some fields. So make sure to check the allowed BB brand lists provided by the fields you want to play at. Just to make it clear to you guys, bio BBs versus non-bio BBs do not differ when it comes to performance, as long as they comply to the quality aspects where we will talk about further in this video. Now, we know there's sometimes confusion whether BBs are made of PLS biodegradable plastic or whether they are just made of normal ABS plastic. In fact, there's a very simple test you can do. For this, you just need to set them on fire. If you put a non-bio BB on fire, it generates a black smoke trail that smells badly like molten plastic, and the BB keeps on burning even if you remove your flame. If you burn a bio BB, it creates a white trail which doesn't smell as bad and stops burning when you remove your flame. Also, when you put pressure on them, there's quite a big difference. When you put them between a pair of pliers, the normal plastic ones shatter in pieces at a certain pressure point, while the bio BBs tend to crack but keep in one piece. The second factor is the color of your BBs. The BB color makes a difference whether or not you can track the path of your shots. This gives you information to correct your aiming when shooting. For this, white BBs are best, since they reflect light the clearest, which makes them very easy to spot. But some fields don't allow white ones due to their environmental laws. So for this, it's recommended to use a more brownish or grayish colored BB, which is still fairly easy to track with a keen eye. Now that we're talking about colored BBs, let's talk about tracer BBs. So just like in the real steel shooting world, also tracers exist in airsoft. These BBs contain a chemical that lights up after it has been exposed to bright light. This has to do with a reaction called fluorescence, which makes it very easy to track the path of your tracer shots. These are especially meant to use in dark environments. Of course, in order to generate that bright light, you need something what's called a tracer unit, which exists in a lot of different systems and shapes. But these will be something we'll discuss in a future video. Once again, if we've made it, it will be in the description down below. Now, when it comes to whether tracer BBs are really bio or non-bio, it's not as easy to know. When applying the tests, like mentioned earlier, they can't really be distinguished from one another. So for the use of these, you better ask your fields which you may use. Furthermore, when it comes to tracers, you need to know they work in both ways, meaning you can see the trajectory of your BB, but your opponent sees them as well, which means they can track you by your shots. If you want to avoid this and still gain the advantage of tracers, you can best use them once every few shots. This is mostly done by pouring a third of the amount of tracers to your regular BBs, for example. And by doing so, you will also save money, which is nice, because tracer BBs are more expensive than the regular BBs. The next factor we'll talk about is BB weight. Now, the standard weight for airsoft BBs are the .20 gram ones. These are almost always used for indoor CQB airsoft and are the ones organizations use to measure the FPS output of your gun. If we go to the outside environments, it's better to look for the more heavier BBs out there. This is important for a few reasons. Namely, heavier BBs are less affected by external conditions like wind and go easier through foliage. This implies they are more consistent over longer ranges, which makes a big difference in the outdoor. They will have a slower muzzle velocity than the .20 gram BBs though, but maintain their energy better, which makes them decelerate slower compared to the .20 gram ones. This implies they hit people harder and there's overall less confusion about whether people got hit or not. But of course, you don't want to go too heavy either, because that can cause less effective range. So it's up to you to test what works for you by going over different BB weights. Now, if you have no idea where to start as for BB weight choice for outdoor usage, a general rule we recommend you to hold on to is to never have a barrel velocity that's below 280 FPS with the BBs you use, because this gives most people enough reaction time to dodge your BBs at 30 meters away, which is a very common engagement distance for outdoor airsoft. So in order to keep above this FPS output, you want to shoot at least 314 FPS with the standard .20 gram BBs for the use of .25 gram BBs. If you want to shoot with .28 gram BBs, that would require at least 332 FPS. For the use of .30 gram BBs, that would require at least 343 FPS, and if you go higher than 400 FPS, we recommend to start off with at least .40 gram BBs. But keep in mind that your hop-up unit is also a factor which needs to be able to give those heavier BBs a good spin, or you won't shoot very far. Now, the last factor of your BB choice is their quality. So let's go over some general things you need to know if a BB is from a good or a bad quality. For this, there are two aspects that will decide whether you should use them or avoid them. Namely, one, the hardness of the BB, and two, the smoothness of the BB. Let's start with the first aspect, the hardness. So some of you might have heard that you best avoid bio BBs because there are stories about them shattering when they are used with GBBR or HPA systems. Now, every story has a core of truth, and the truth about this case is you generally don't want to use BBs that are easy to break. How can you test this? Well, for this you simply need a pair of pliers. If you need to put quite a lot of force on a BB before it breaks, they are good. If you are able to break them easily with the pliers, they are made of bad quality plastics and you should avoid them. Next, we have the smoothness. When it comes to smoothness, you want your BBs to be smooth enough to easily move through your barrel, but not too smooth, because then they won't grip on the hop-up rubber to get the required spin that causes the Magnus effect and provides a good range. For this, you want to search for BBs that are 2 to 3 times polished and that don't show any sort of seam lines. You also want to look out for nice spherical BBs, or you won't shoot very accurate. If you have any BBs laying around that don't comply to these demands, you don't need to worry, because they still can be used for your airsoft grenades. Furthermore, no matter what BBs you end up shooting with, you always need to clean your barrel from time to time. If you don't know how to do it, you can take a look at the link in the description down below to learn it the proper way. That being said, you never want to reuse shot BBs that are deformed or that have fallen on the dirty surface or on the ground, since this can also cause damage to the internals of your gun. At last, you always want to store your BBs in a cool and dry place, away from any moisture when you're not using them. Also, let us know if you use bio or non-bio BBs in the comments below. Like always, don't forget to participate in our monthly giveaways for some awesome quality products. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell button if you learned something new thanks to this video. Thank you for watching and we'll see you guys next week.